Before we talk about a very radical and wild idea of Stefon Diggs getting traded to the Broncos, make sure to subscribe. If you're looking for a free Broncos YouTube channel out there, we're the spot to be at. We have 14,080 plus subscribers at the moment. Now, so far in the month of June, we picked up 142 subs. Shout out to YouTube Analytics. Last June, we picked up 132 subs. So halfway through the month, pretty much, we've already outdone what we did all of June of 2022. Let's double up on our previous selves. Hit that subscribe button down below. Who's ready for a wild blockbuster trade idea? Denver has been known to be a bit aggressive with George Paton. They got Russell Wilson. They traded away Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. So George Paton has shown no issue with making big trades. The Walton family has no issue with spending money and doing whatever it takes to get the best roster together possible. And Sean Payton, we don't have a lot of background information on Payton as a Broncos head coach just yet, but we know Sean Payton is not one to sit on his hands. So, with all that being said, could Denver possibly pursue a Stefon Diggs trade? Well, the story really begins when Adam Schefter tweeted out on June 13th that Bills head coach Sean McDermott told reporters today that he is very concerned that wide receiver Stefon Diggs is not at Buffalo's mandatory minicamp today. So it seems pretty clear. Stefon Diggs is not at the Bills' mandatory minicamp. Now, we're recording this Tuesday afternoon during our live show. Fast forward about an hour later, and Schefter tweets out this. Stefon Diggs' agent said his client is in Buffalo, has been in Buffalo since yesterday morning, took his physical, met with the head coach and GM the past 2 days, and the Pro Bowl wide receiver, quote, will be there for the entirety of the minicamp. For whatever reason, there seems to be a big cloud over the fact of if Stefon Diggs is at minicamp or not. I would think it's pretty cut and dry. Was he there or was he not there? But evidently, it's not all that clear. Now, I saw this tweet, and my first thought was Stefon Diggs' agent typed this out, text it to Adam Schefter to tweet out, doing him a solid, and in return, he'll give him a scoop down the road because this just screams like entourage for Vinny, his publicist, trying to put out a fire right now. So I'm not going to take the agent's word for it 100% because they're likely doing damage control for their client. But if Stefon Diggs is holding out or holding in, well, we don't really have a good idea why, because it's not contract related, right? As Field Yates indicated, he signed a 4-year, $96 million contract extension with $70 million guaranteed. So a lot of the times, like 99.9% of the times we see holdouts during mandatory minicamp and into training camp, it's due to the contract issue. That is not the case here, right? There is no way Stefon Diggs is unhappy about his contract. He is making a boatload of cash. Now, if a trade were to happen, and at this point I think it's a 95% chance that he does not get traded, but there is still a 5% chance, well, it doesn't make any sense for the Bills. I don't see why Buffalo would ever want to go down this path for two big reasons. One, Stefon Diggs is a super duper good player. 3 straight seasons of being a 1,200-plus yard receiver. 2, they would incur a ton of dead money, like virtually no cap savings, $1.6 million, and nearly $45 million in dead cap hit. So this is kind of where the rubber meets the road, right? Why would the Bills want to incur a $45.4 million dead cap hit is beyond me. So this is sort of the part of the video where we can go, well, it's highly, highly, highly unlikely the Bills would want to set an NFL record for dead cap hit to move on from a player when they're trying to win a Super Bowl right now, and he is a big asset to them. But I do wonder, why is Stefon Diggs holding out? If he is holding out. I'm not quite sure what all the details are, but there is clearly some level of concern, as Sean McDermott said it himself. Is this kind of the tip of the iceberg, right? Is there way more to this story than just Stefon Diggs is upset that they haven't won a Super Bowl yet? The holdout cannot be contract related. I refuse to believe that is the issue here. And Buffalo has proven they are committed to winning, right? They signed Leonard Floyd like a week and a half ago. They are spending money. They are doing what they can to make this team successful, to put this roster in a spot to compete with the Bengals and the Chiefs and the rest of the juggernauts of the NFL. So if those aren't the reasons, I don't know what is the reason. But clearly something is frustrating Stefon Diggs. And I don't think it's one of those two things. And whatever this thing is that's frustrating him enough to have Sean McDermott concerned about him not being at minicamp, could he eventually force a trade, right? That's kind of where the 5% chance in my eyes of a trade happening lies. Now, if Denver were to be a team that pursues Stefon Diggs, I don't have a good idea of what a trade looks like for Diggs. He was originally traded for a first-round pick. That was 3 years ago. He's gotten better since then, but he's also gotten older and more expensive. So I don't know if you're going to find a team that wants to give up a first-round pick for a 29-year-old receiver with a huge contract when no one was interested in DeAndre Hopkins at all. But what about Jerry Jeudy in a third? Right? I think this is a rough idea of if a trade were to happen, what it could potentially look like. Because Buffalo is not looking to reset. Now, I say that. The Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill away last year, and they won a Super Bowl afterwards and did not get a receiver in return from Miami. So maybe Buffalo wants to follow that same game plan. Very different situations. Tyreek Hill was looking for a contract. Stefon Diggs already has a huge contract. Now, when you look at Jeudy versus Stefon Diggs head-on, this really shouldn't be much of a comparison. As of right now, no doubt Stefon Diggs is a better receiver. I'd be hard-pressed to even find Jerry Jeudy making an argument that he's better than Stefon Diggs at this current moment. But down the road, things may change because Jerry Jeudy ended the year on a hot streak last year. Last 6 weeks of the season, 37 grabs, 3 touchdowns, 523 yards. So if you take those numbers and you stretch them out over the course of a 17-game season, we're talking about similar numbers to Stefon Diggs. Maybe not, exactly identical, but not far behind. Now, looking at this trade one more time, who do you think wins this trade? Is it Denver or is it Buffalo? There are points to be made on both sides. I'd be inclined to say the team getting Stefon Diggs would usually win the trade, but Jeudy is an up-and-coming receiver, a guy I'm very high on, and I'm not trying to trade Jeudy away. That is not the point of this. The point is to give you a rough snapshot of what a trade could look like if it reaches this point. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, we've got Pat Surtain jerseys on sale, less than $100. We know how expensive NFL jerseys can be, so even if a little sliver of you is looking for a new Broncos jersey, get it right now. If you wait too long, the deal will go away, and then you'll be paying, $30, $40 more dollars. So go to chatsports.com/Surtain jersey. I've got that link in the comments and the description of today's video, along with the link for Nuggets championship gear. So if you are looking to cop a Denver Nuggets t-shirt, hat, anything, because everyone watching that's a Nuggets fan right now should get some Nuggets gear, get it now, chatsports.com/Nuggets. Also, the link is in the comments and the description of today's show. Getting back to the Stefon Diggs segment, I might look back at this and say I'm stupid for saying this, but Denver should not be trading an up-and-coming 24-year-old receiver still on his rookie contract for a 29-year-old receiver with a big contract, and it also costs you a draft pick. I don't know if that's a dumb thing to say or not, but put me in the camp of, let's wait and see how Jerry Jeudy does this year. Let's see if Jerry Jeudy can develop to be what Stefon Diggs is. Look at Stefon Diggs' first numbers, his 3 years in the NFL. They're not drastically different than what Jerry Jeudy has done so far. Yes, Stefon Diggs is better than Jeudy. That I'm not arguing with. But Diggs' window is kind of closing down. He's 29 years old. He's still going to have 3, maybe 4 more good seasons. But Jerry Jeudy could have 7 or 8 more good seasons. And if Jeudy is on track to be Stefon Diggs when he's 29 years old, don't you kind of want to hang on to him? I just don't think Denver is a expensive veteran wide receiver away from winning a Super Bowl. That's kind of the hard truth right now. If the Broncos were coming off an AFC championship loss last year, that's a different conversation. But the fact is they're not. They still have a ways to go to get back to the top of the mountain. And pursuing 29-year-old expensive veteran players, I don't think is the best recipe for getting back to the top. Now, after saying that, even I can admit or recognize ownership has invested a ton of money in Russell Wilson. Like almost $250 million with a B in Russell Wilson. And if they want to see Russell Wilson live up or even live close to that contract, and they think Stefon Diggs can make Russell Wilson a better quarterback, don't be shocked if Walton Penner goes up to George and Sean Payton and go, how about we give Buffalo a call again? See what it costs to get Stefon Diggs. Because he's a superstar. And as owners, we may not know the best for what the best for this team is down the road, but we'd love to get a superstar player here and get some butts in seats and not be an ownership group that takes over a team and loses the first couple of seasons. Because this potential 5-player core right here with Russell Wilson, Javonte Williams, Stefon Diggs, Pat Surtain, and Justin Simmons on defense, they can win some games. If Russell Wilson can get back to where he was before, you better believe that there is a high ceiling for this team with the right coach in place with Sean Payton, and the ownership group might see that and go, sure, we can hope and wait that Jerry Jeudy develops into Stefon Diggs type of player, but if he doesn't, we're going to be kicking ourselves if we pass on a generational talent like Diggs. So if the front office thinks that that core right there, that group of 5 players can win a Super Bowl, I could see them pursuing Diggs. As crazy as that sounds, and keep in mind, big-time long shot, because I don't see why the Bills would want to trade Stefon Diggs, but if it somehow snowballed into that point, well, we saw Aaron Rodgers get traded. I bet Packers fans 3 or 4 years ago would never see that day happen, especially to the New York Jets of all teams. I remember Seahawks fans telling me for months I was out of my mind for thinking Russell Wilson could get traded to Denver. And here we are. So, don't ever exactly rule out a trade in the NFL. But what do you guys think? Should the Broncos at the end trade for Stefon Diggs? Yes or no? I might regret this later, but I'm going no deal, right? I'm holding on to Jerry Jeudy. I want to see if he can live up to that first-round potential, and you don't have to give up more picks, and you don't have to give out a huge contract when you're already so far in the red for the books. I'd be shocked if Diggs was traded, period, to any team at any time. But for now, I am passing on behalf of the Broncos. Make sure to subscribe, by the way, if you have not already. We keep you guys in the loop all off season long. Anytime a story like this comes out there, we'll talk on it, we'll touch on it, we'll break it down for you guys in a video. So subscribe for more free Broncos content.